Ever feel like you're just like barely staying afloat when it comes to your finances?
Yeah.
You know, like you're working hard, but that dream of like actual financial freedom feels a million miles away.
Yeah.
Well, today we're diving deep into a book that throws you a life preserver.
Yeah.
The Barefoot Investor by Scott Pape.
Yeah, what I really like about Pape's approach is that he cuts through all that, like complex financial jargon, all that Wall Street wizardry. He's talking directly to the everyday person, like the people who think investing is just for like rich people.
Exactly. It's like he's saying, hey, you don't need some like fancy suit or a finance degree to be good with money.
Right.
And the best part, he gives you a plan, a step-by-step plan to achieve financial independence.
It's true.
And it all starts with this like brilliant but so simple idea, the bucket system. Have you heard of this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this isn't your grandma's budgeting advice. It's like,
No.
imagine taking all your income and like dividing it into these 3 buckets, metaphorical buckets, right?
Okay.
Blow, mojo, and grow.
Okay, I love this visual.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like giving your money a purpose, a job. So, okay, break it down for us.
Okay, so your blow bucket, this is for like your everyday stuff.
Right.
Your needs, and importantly, enjoying life a little.
Yes.
Like your groceries, bills, that weekend trip that you've been wanting to take. Pape says like around 60% of your income goes here.
Okay.
Then you got your mojo bucket. Now this one's all about security.
Okay.
Your emergency fund, it's like your financial safety net to like catch you if, let's be real, when life throws like curveballs at you.
Yeah, exactly. Car trouble, like a medical bill, all that stuff. You got your mojo bucket.
That's right. Pape recommends shooting for around 20% of your income in there.
Okay.
Enough to cover like 3 to 6 months of expenses.
Which I don't know about you, but just knowing I have that cushion, it gives me such peace of mind.
Absolutely. It's about like, taking control, reducing that financial anxiety.
Yes.
And then finally we have the grow bucket.
Okay.
This is where your money starts like working for you.
Yes.
We're talking investments,
Right.
specifically low-cost index funds.
Yes, and this is where I think the Barefoot Investor really, it clicks. Pape takes this keep it simple approach to investing.
He does.
He loves index funds because they offer a diversified way to invest in the entire market.
Right.
And oftentimes with lower fees than actively managed funds.
Yeah, this really resonates with this growing movement toward passive investing, where you're not trying to time the market or pick stocks, which, let's be honest, can be kind of a recipe for disaster, especially for beginners.
Yeah.
Instead, you're buying into this broad market index and just riding the wave of overall market growth long term.
It's like hopping on a slow and steady train headed towards financial freedom.
That's a great way to put it.
And here's the thing. Pape is all about automating your contributions to these index funds. This is where that set it and forget it thing comes in.
Yeah. And there's this fascinating psychological element to that too.
Really?
Automating your finances removes the emotion from investing.
Oh, interesting.
You're not tempted to make these impulsive decisions based on how the market is doing, or, let's be honest, that nagging voice of doubt that we all have sometimes.
Exactly. It takes the guesswork and honestly, the fear out of it.
Yeah.
You decide on your strategy, set up those automatic transfers, and then let the magic happen.
Right. Let that compound growth work its magic.
Exactly. Now, speaking of psychology,
Yes.
have you ever noticed how separating your money into these different buckets, it can actually change how you think about spending?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It does.
100%.
You start thinking twice about that impulse purchase when you know it's coming out of your mojo bucket. It's like, hold on, do I really need that, or do I need peace of mind knowing that I'm prepared?
It's like we mentally assign different values to money based on what it's for.
Right.
So by separating your finances into these buckets, you're kind of creating these mental boundaries that encourage more thoughtful spending.
Yes. And it also addresses that guilt we sometimes feel when we spend money.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you know that you have your mojo bucket funded and your grow bucket is steadily growing, enjoying that blow bucket feels less like a splurge and more like a reward.
Exactly.
You earned it.
So we've got a handle on how to organize our money now, right? But now let's tackle that thing that's holding so many of us back.
Debt.
Debt. Ugh, it's like this weight around our necks.
Yeah, it's a drag.
It is. So how does the Barefoot Investor tackle this?
Well, Pape, he takes this really straightforward, no-nonsense approach to getting rid of debt. And his philosophy is really simple, attack those high-interest debts first. Okay, that makes sense. So credit cards.
Exactly. Those credit cards, payday loans, anything like that. Those are like sucking the life out of your money with that high interest.
Oh, it's so true. It's like throwing money away almost.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Pay doesn't just like tell you to throw every single dollar at your debt, Like
Yeah.
he breaks it down.
Okay, good.
Manageable steps so you don't get overwhelmed and so you can actually see progress.
That's key. Seeing like those small wins along the way,
Yes.
it's so motivating to see those results.
Exactly.
Okay, so you get rid of like those credit card debts first. What's next?
Then you move on to like those lower interest ones, like student loans, things like that.
Right, right. Okay, so it's like this mountain.
It is like climbing a mountain.
You start with the hardest part, and then you get to like the rest of it feels easier.
Exactly. You got this momentum, right? Okay, so once you've conquered those debts, it's time to focus on building that financial future.
Yes. Time for that grow bucket to really work.
Exactly. And remember, Pape's approach to investing is all about simplicity.
Right, to keep it simple. Index funds.
Yes, index funds, they're like basically a basket of stocks that mirrors how a certain market index is doing.
So you're investing in the entire market's growth, not
Yeah.
picking like individual stocks.
Exactly. Which, let's be honest, can be a little risky,
Yeah, it can be a gamble.
especially for people who are new to investing,
Yeah.
right? And another thing, because index funds are usually passively managed, they usually have a lower fees than those actively managed funds where you're paying someone to try and beat the market.
Which is really hard to do consistently.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're back to index funds. We love them. But what about actually investing in them?
Pape is all about automating those contributions to your investment accounts.
Again, with the automation.
It's just the best way.
It really is.
It really is. It just takes the emotion out of it. Because let's be honest, we all have those moments where we're tempted to, mess with our investments based on what the market's doing or like just a gut feeling.
I've so been there.
Right.
Yeah.
But by automating, you're taking out that emotional element.
Right, because that can lead to like rash decisions.
Yes. Impulsive decisions that could hurt your returns in the long run.
Exactly.
It's about making a plan and sticking to it.
Right.
You decide how much to invest, you automate those contributions, and then you just let it do its thing.
And that thing being...
Compounding.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it,
Yeah.
the magic of compounding.
Explain it to me like I'm 5.
Mm.
How does compounding work?
Okay, so you're earning interest on your initial investment, right? But then you earn interest on that interest and so on and so on. It's like a snowball effect, building wealth over time.
I love that. Okay, so that's compounding. That's the
Yeah.
goal. And the best part about Pop's approach is that it's not just theory, right? He gives you practical ways to put it into practice. It's not just like, here's what you should do. He actually tells you how to do it.
Totally. Yeah, he's like holding your hand through the whole thing.
And speaking of steps, one of the first things Pap says is to like set up separate bank accounts
Oh, yeah.
for each of your buckets.
Yeah.
Blow, mojo, grow.
I love that because it makes it real. It's one thing to think about them, but when you actually see those accounts with like, dollars and cents,
It clicks.
it makes it real.
It's like those visual reminders we put on the fridge, except these ones are going to like help you retire early.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, so we got our accounts. What's next?
Automate, automate, automate.
Again. But seriously, so important.
So important. Set those automatic transfers, based on whatever percentages you decide on.
Right, like how much goes into each bucket.
Exactly. So you're consistently putting money into your mojo, your grow buckets without even thinking about it.
Love it. It's like putting your finances on autopilot. But, okay, let's be real. No book is perfect, right?
Sure.
And the Barefoot Investor has gotten some criticism.
It has.
A lot of people say it's too simple, especially for folks who already know a lot about investing.
Yeah, if you're like a Wall Street whiz, this might not be for you, but for most people, it's great.
Right. And even if you do know a lot, it's good to go back to basics sometimes,
Absolutely. It's so easy to get caught up in all these complex strategies, but sometimes just going back to the basics, simplifying, it can be so refreshing.
Totally. It's like even those pro athletes,
Exactly.
they still practice the fundamentals.
They don't just show up to the Olympics and hope for the best.
It's all about that strong foundation.
100%.
So as we wrap up our deep dive on the Barefoot Investor, I think the takeaway is it's all about simplicity and actually doing it, not just reading about it.
Yes, you don't need to be like a financial expert to be good with your money. Pape shows us that these little things, like putting your savings on autopilot, they can make a huge difference over time.
It's about building those good habits and then letting the magic happen.
The magic of compounding.
Exactly. And remember, that magic It all starts with a single step.
So true. What's that one step you're going to take today? Setting up that savings account, scheduling that debt payment.
What will it be? Think about it. And until next time, keep learning and keep diving deep.